Alrighty folks, this is Alan recording another comprehensive Magic the Gathering Arena draft video. Let's do another Premier draft with Ravinica Allegiance and see what juicy archetype we managed to um, draft. And this is definitely a better set than Guilds of Ravnica. Kind of the complete opposite. It's a lot more grindy. Gates do matter. Um, Aggro is not the best archetype. There's a lot of control decks. And there's more than two guilds, of course, that's playable, but we'll see. And the pack one pick one, Premier Draft, Ravnica Allegiance. Let's do another good pack one pick one. Pretty bad one though, pretty disappointing. Don't think I'm taking a breeding pool. The best cards, Rakdos Firewheeler, and then the two best commons, Law Mage's Binding and Final Payment. Still probably prefer Law Mage's Binding over Final Payment, so it's really just between these two, I think. Law Mage's Binding would keep us the most flexible, but I haven't gotten a 7-win Rakdos Firewheeler deck yet. The more open choices at Uncommon are definitely weaker than the Rakdos Firewheeler. So if I wanted to stay the most flexible and take the most powerful card, probably just take the Law Mage's Binding, but this card is quite powerful. Just enters the battlefield, a nice 2-for-1, kills a creature, puts out a 4-3, and it's still early on, maybe we can just force Rakdos, as opposed to just taking a Law Mage's Binding, because this just kills something and puts a 4-3 body out. That's threatening enough. I think I take it here. Yeah, I think I take it here. It's just strong enough over the Law Mage's Binding that, yeah, it's just powerful. It's a powerful temple play, but obviously in two colors, so not sure. But here, okay, I'm not going to take a Rakdos Trumpeter or Rakdos Roustabout over the rest of these other cards, so maybe we pivot onto something else. The Gates deck can be pretty powerful, the Archway Angel, and it's definitely a powerful archetype, but you do need to draft a million Gates along with it. Yeah, maybe we just force Rakdos, because this is just a powerful first pick, and we're still seeing a couple of Rakdos cards in this pack. Otherwise, yeah, maybe I would still take Archway Angel over like the Law Mage's Binding here, since it's just, again, a powerful build around, whereas Law Mage's Binding is a good 1-for-1 that we can always get later, since usually the threats are better than the answers, from my experience. Let's take Archway Angel. Maybe we can either go Rakdos, or maybe we can draft a Gates deck. I think it's strong enough for me to take here that I just go for it, so let's take it. And as I say that, Grasping Throw, Dovin's Acuity. Maybe we just draft a Clear the Mind's Gates deck with the Dovin's Acuity, and this is quite strong. Alternatively, we can just take the Plague White or the Footlight Fiend to force Rakdos. Lots of interesting options still. I think the highest upside is, again, the Dovin's Acuity, Gates, Clear the Mind deck. And this can be pretty fun. And we can be the white drafters here. Yeah, maybe we just don't draft Rakdos here. The Archway Angel is a good sign that the Gates, Clear the Mind deck is open, and Dovin's Acuity is definitely one of the engines. So if we take it here, we can just prioritize a bunch of removal spells and just draft a control deck with a million Gates, and that seems fun. Let's do it. I haven't explored this archetype, and fantastic Precognitive Perception, still late in the pack. Great card draw spell for our controlling Azorius Gates deck if we go that route. There's also Wrestler's Admonition, which I would be happy to with a Dovin's Acuity. Late Skewer to Critics, so I guess Rakdos is still up as an option. Same with Orzhov with the Imperious Oligarch. But Dovin's Acuity, Archway Angel. Yeah, I'm happy that I took the Archway Angel here, so this is a good sign. And then Dovin's Acuity was a great sign, and now Precognitive Perception definitely over Skewer to Critics. Let's take it and avoid Rakdos from now on, and take an Azorius Locket, I have to imagine. Good Rakdos cards, Rakdos Trumpeter and Footlight Fiend, but over everything else doesn't seem amazing. The Locket can help us ramp, get to our 5 and 6 drops here, so we'll take it. And we'll take a Gate, why not? The 2-drop is very mediocre at 1 toughness. The rest of these cards are just not amazing. The Gate can help with the Archway Angel, and yep, fixes our mana for a Precognitive Perception, and maybe other Gate cards that we take later, and still a late Law Mage's Binding, excellent. So had we first picked a Law Mage's Binding, we would have been in better shape. But either way, we still got some pretty nice, powerful bombs. so we'll take the Law Mage's Binding and move on. And Fairy Duelist is a good defensive evasive creature I don't mind having on 2. Wouldn't mind a Skitter Eel too. It's a good 4-drop. Can also block pretty well later and can also attack efficiently, but I think we want the disruption spell more than the threat in this type of deck because yeah, we're more of a control deck, I think, at the end of the day. I could use another Law Mage's Binding. Yeah, it has to be over the Code of Constraint, although I do have Dovin's Acuity. It's just better, kills things instead of locking them down. So I would love a Code of Constraint, but I'll definitely take a Summary Judgment here. Could even consider Junk Troller if I want to go all in with the whole Clear to Mind game plan by bottoming my spells. But I think with Clear to Mind, it's going to function better either way, since it already just shuffles everything back, while this is just a slow defensive card. Summary Judgment has to be the pick. And maybe we end up playing Watchful Giant, hopefully not. Take a late Rakdos Trumpeter. Sure. So multiple options we are setting up to be. We could just be a Flyers deck. We can be the Clear to Mind Esper control deck. We can be green, white, blue, white. Who knows? But definitely going to make picking up those instant speed addendum cards a high priority, as well as good removal and gates, as well as gate payoff cards. So we definitely have a long road ahead of us. But Azorius can be pretty fun, not gonna lie. Might even play this Locket, who knows. And Gateway Sneak is perfect. And raised Forerunners, powerful bomb, but you do need to ramp into it. If you aren't going to be playing a ramp deck, it's not going to be great, but if you do, it's a pretty busted card, so it's pretty best. It's best in Simic since you're looking to ramp, and I wouldn't mind first picking a card like this, and usually you can pick up a couple Simic Lockets to get this going, but yeah, Gateway Sneak has to be the pick, especially in an Arcway Angel deck. Alternatively, wouldn't mind another Law Mage's Binding, but we have 2 already, and the Gateway Sneak is perfect, so we're going to take it here and leverage this gate plan. Although now, nothing amazing. We're not really going wide for a card like Angelic Exaltation. The best card in this pack is the Incubation Druid, I have to imagine. But I could just take a Final Payment. This has to be better than the Senate Courier, I have to imagine, just as a good removal spell. And if we're going to be drafting gates, we're going to be multicolor, and this is just a better splash than, say, the Incubation Druid. Since I think we're green-white, this is a better card to just play on curve. This is not a very exciting card, so we'll take a Final Payment. Maybe just end up Esper Gates. Another one, okay. Could take Swirling Torrent if we're aggressive enough, which we aren't looking to be. Could take a Junk Troller as a fine 4-drop blocker. Not sure. Maybe second Final Payment's alright. We can take a couple of life hits. And since we do have the Dovin's Acuity to go along with it, could also consider the Exposed to Daylight if we want to go that route. Yeah, these cards suck. Let's just take the Final Payment. Verity Circle could also be reasonable in a deck like this, just as a way to tap creatures down and gain card advantage. But with Dovin's Acuity and Cognitive Perception, I don't want to deck myself. I think we just have to take the 4-drop here, Skitter Eel, as a nice card. Also wouldn't mind an Exposed to Daylight in this type of deck. But Skitter Eel could be fine, and yeah, Sphinx's Insight is great. Also wouldn't mind a Spirit of the Spires, but we could find better 4-drops. And yeah, Gates versus the Consecrate Consume. Has to be the Gate here, since we don't have much, and we could use more for these Gateway Sneaks. And yeah, Consecrate Consume, great removal spell, but with double Final Payment we should be okay. I guess there's also Clear to Mind, but I think the Gate is just better. Yeah, the Gate is just better. And Summary Judgment, perfect for the Addendum plan, so we'll take it. And Exposed to Daylight, I don't actually mind main decking a card like this in a deck like this. And yeah, another Law Mage's Binding versus a Thought Collapse. we all know what the right option here. So Clear the Mind isn't looking great since these are enchantments. So we could just be a sort of a tempo flyers deck at the end of the day. We'll see. So probably don't need to focus too much on Clear the Mind. Just kind of tempo the opponent out with aggressive flyers maybe as our game plan and outvalue them with our card draw. Or I can just take a Junk Troller here. I mean, it's not like we're going to lack interaction on turn 6. So I think we take the Junk Troller as a good ground blocker and also a way to maybe help us stabilize and get back our removal spells later. But we don't have Clear the Mind. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking we're maybe just the Clear the Mind deck without Clear the Mind. Maybe the game plan is just to mill them. Equip onto a creature, just mill them to death, and just play a controlling game plan. Maybe that's just the option. We'll see. Screaming Shield could be reasonable. I'm hoping maybe we can pick up another gate payoff card so we can really maximize this to our advantage. Sky Tether is fine. Maybe just need the Chillbringer. Are we going to be winning through damage? I think so. Maybe this is just a Flyers deck at the end of the day. Like, this is fine. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, the deck, even though we could have a nice controlling value deck, which can gain a bunch of cards and kill a bunch of stuff, we still don't have a way to win, maybe by milling them with the item, but I think maybe we just need the damage to get going, so yeah, probably take the Chillbringer over the gate. And Sphinx, yeah, maybe we're just a Flyers deck. We do have double Summary Judgment already, could use an Admonition, but we do have a good amount of interaction already in this deck that, again, we just need some ways to close out, so unfortunately, maybe, yeah, we're just drafting Flyers at this point, and could use the Skyguard over the Law Mage's Binding plus the Advester's Admonition. So, yeah, our Gates deck, although I do love it a lot, I think, again, we're just going to be a Evasion deck at the end of the day, because a lot of the creatures are open from this side out, so probably not going to do the whole Esper control Clear the Mind thing, unfortunately. How good is the High Alert in their deck? It's good with the Azorius Knight Arbiter, okay with the Archway Angel, not great with anything else, so probably not going to do High Alert. Maybe we just need the Concordian Pegasus, or just another Skitter Eel. Pegasus on 2 is not very good. Just not a great card in general. But this doesn't really have evasion. This can block a 2-drop, but who cares? We'll take another Skitter Eel. Yeah, we're just probably the evasion deck. And another Knight Arbiter, okay. So, as much as I would love the Clear the Mind deck, we're not going to do it here because it just doesn't seem open. And I don't think we're going wide enough for the Angelic Exaltation. We're not really a tokens deck. This is better in like Orzhov with millions of tokens and afterlife creatures, but this is not the deck for it. Just going to be the Tempo Evasion deck. And we could even cut the Archway Angel for not getting enough 8 gates later on. And maybe just main deck a Quench on turn 2. Just to counter their stuff. Maybe we just need the Screaming Shield. Like, it's not unreasonable. Like, I don't mind dealing damage to them, but the Screaming Shield might be able to just close out games if we can survive long enough. Yeah, it could be reasonable. I actually don't hate the Screaming Shield plan. But it's definitely a good card in the Esper control deck. It's not a good card, but might end up playing it. Or not. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Maybe if this is the Eyes Everywhere type of deck. Lots of options. It's not a great card either. Like, sure, you can steal their permanent, but they can just scry and improve their draw steps every turn. So it's also not a card I'm too happy to see. Another Summary Judgment, though. I guess I'll just play a million of these and just ditch the eyes everywhere. It does improve our draw steps, but I don't really care. Yeah, we're probably just a tempo evasion deck at the end of the day. It seems like we do have double Azorius Knight Arbiter, so we're probably not going to mill them. It's probably just a tempo evasion deck. Therefore, maybe just a Hazda Officer or one of these 3-drops are just better on curve. Although this is 24 cards. Main decking the Quench isn't the end of the world. Could even cut the Skitter Eel. Maybe it's just too expensive for this type of deck. But it is a good ground blocker. Just make it into a 5/5. So I'm not liking the main deck exposed. Everything else seems okay. Let's see. Yeah, we only have 11 creatures, so I think I'm playing the double Skitter Sneal. And this is kind of just our weird deck. The Hazda Officer is not looking good, though. Let's see. With 2 gates, I don't know about the Archway Angel. It is still a 6-mana 3/4 flyer that can swing in for damage. So we're really just trying to play defense, kill the opponent's stuff, and trade off stuff. I guess we're not trading off with most of these creatures, so we're mostly just trying to stabilize the early game, while and then just try to close out with our evasive threats. So it is a tempo deck. And again, I don't think we need the Screaming Shield for evasion. This could be a reasonable blocker, but I think the Skitter Eel is just better at the end of the day. We're not splashing black. The Eyes Everywhere is pretty slow. And they also get to scry if you exchange, so it's not great. We don't have a lot of tokens for Angelic Exaltation. Hazda Officer is better than the 10th District Veteran. And I'd rather just trade off the Hazda Officer than answer an artifact or enchantment in this type of deck. I mean, it could be reasonable main decking something like this to take out an opposing Law Mage's Binding, perhaps. So is that actually not unreasonable? Maybe we just ditch the Quench for an Exposed to Daylight instead. Yeah, I could see that happening. This is just a fine counter spell to keep up, but we should have enough removal to deal with the opponent's threats. That is fine, maybe main decking 1 Expose. We're going to have some issues dealing with opposing control decks, especially Clear to Mind, but against maybe like an aggro deck, we should be okay. So I don't hate this. And we're slightly favoring white, so 10-9 seems pretty decent for this type of weird deck we're drafting. I just don't like the Expose. I haven't been very impressed by it, but can have its moments. Yeah, I mean, this is just too situational, right? But so is Quench. Quench is a good turn 2 play, I guess. If we do have a Quench on turn 2, the opponent might tap out and we could just counter it instead, but it's kind of bad in the late game where they can just spend a bunch of mana on something and we can't counter it, so it's still situational. The Expose, we might see more like enchantments anyways to deal with, and also artifacts, so let's try this deck out, see how it goes. Yeah. We're just that weird tempo evasion deck instead of the controlling Esper deck, and it's obviously 17 plus the Locket, I have to imagine, since there's a lot of expensive stuff to do. Skitter Sneak needs to get pumped. We have expensive card draw spells. And yeah, something like this. Otherwise, if we're going to 16 lands with the Locket, I don't know what I'd put in the deck. Maybe Junk Troller. But seems reasonable. Let's try it out. did have a pretty nice start to maybe a controlling Esper deck with the final payments and the precognitive perception, but sometimes you can't have them all. I think this is a reasonable keep. And a 2-drop. I can kill this when it taps, and I actually don't hate that idea since it can enable Spectacle. A Boros deck. What's this? Okay. Let's see what he decides to Spectacle out. Nothing, so we'll Summary Judgment it. So he doesn't have like a turn 3 like Blade Juggler instead. And we can still Skitter Eel on 4. And Law Mage is binding anything else he plays, which I don't care about. Yeah, I'm not Law Maging. Law Mage is binding a 1/1. Probably play Skitter Eels first, and I could just block here in case. I mean, either way, 1 damage will get across even if he attacks, so there's really... Yeah, I guess that's fine. Yeah. Attack for 2, and then I'll play out my Sphinx. And hopefully it doesn't run into a... Actually, I could just leave up the Fairy Duelist and play the Sphinx later, because even though this can get him for 4, he could just... Yeah, he could just kill it, so... Not sure. Lots of options. We'll say go. I don't think we need to be aggressive here. And this plays better to turn after we play Sphinx, so we can block it. Okay. Hopefully he gives it haste, but no haste. Okay. Yeah. Maybe we lock it down next turn, but this is fine. And we get to take out a 1/1. This is why 1 toughness creature is stuck in this format. He can attack, make something unblockable. So I think I'm fine running this out and keeping the 1/2 back so he can't enable Spectacle. And we'll play the Sphinx now, since maybe it's safer. Say go. Block the 1/1 so he doesn't enable Spectacle, and we can maybe keep attacking for 4. Hopefully no Rubble Belt Recluse. That can be a problem. Undersea Scavenger, I guess, can stack. I mean, it's not that bad, but we'll see. Maybe now we just need to attack since I don't have any good blocks against this. Thirsting Shade, pretty annoying. Ooh, Azorius Knight Arbiter, quite good, so I think we just attack. The Thirsting Shade can pump a couple of times, but if he wants to spend his turn pumping, that's okay. Gonna take 5 and maybe try to just win in the air. We can still chump with the Fairy Duelist, which I might just keep back later to chump. And Ill-Gotten Inheritance, pretty annoying too. Let's play land. Let's Archway Angel up in game 2, which is not a lot, but still reasonable. And we can attack here and chump the 5/5 and then just win with our flyers, hopefully. This can pump itself twice, so the Archway Angel can still block it pretty reasonably well. Could see a removal spell here. In that case, do I mind just double blocking this Undercity Scavenger? I guess I don't mind because it's just going to deal too much damage over time. It does slow me down though, because I might want to just deal 5. Let's chump it. I think it's okay. And maybe Skitter Eel can trade instead. And we're just going to main phase the activation to play around a Grotesque Demise. And then we'll attack. And then could even block the Thirsting Shade instead next turn. But he definitely needs to kill one of my flyers at the very least. Probably going to block the Thirsting Shade if he attacks and then take 5. A Grasping Throw, yeah, that's not good. Not a card I want to see. But I'll trade. And I think we're attacking for sure. I'm happy if he chumps here. That would be really nice. Yep, that's really nice. So maybe the opponent now is just trying to win with the Thirsting Shade. That's a pretty good trump, so now he needs to kill the Archway Angel. I need to find more playables, but I'm flooding here, so Rafter Demon is okay, very medium still. I don't care if I discard a card. I can still block this next turn. Yeah, we need to attack. This is not a game where we stay back. Say go. Probably blocking the Rafter Demon and then maybe swinging back for lethal. Although he could pump this twice, which still isn't enough. So I'm definitely going to block the Rafter Demon here and hopefully no removal spells because this game is really close. He could activate the Ill-Gotten Inheritance in response. But then he, hopefully no removal, please no removal. We're doing so well, and we're just flooding out here. This game can sometimes be a pain in the ass, sometimes. If he main phases this, then it's still not good for him. So if he main phases this, I guess I can still block the Rafter Demon, but yeah, probably the better play for the opponent was to not, but he probably has a removal spell, otherwise I don't think he would have done that. Probably going to block the Rafter Demon, he can pump his Shade twice, but I still think we have lethal. So even though the opponent played badly, we might lose because we're flooding. Like, we literally drew like 4 lands, 5 lands in a row, and the opponent is found some good playables. Bankrupt in Blood, I guess isn't too bad, but still, yeah, I guess if he kills this, I'm dead, so hopefully the opponent has a final payment, so he's forced to sack the Rafter Demon. Angelic Exaltation, so we can still chump. Yeah, it's going to be a chump here, and we can win the flyer. Opponent has a weird deck, but we still, at least we didn't, we could have gotten this earlier and that would have been better, but we're still flooding, so good games. We do have also some card draw spells in this deck too, so flooding isn't that bad, but it is still a problem at times. Fairy Duelist onto Law Mage's Binding. Yeah, I think I'll try it. Maybe this represents a duelist since I couldn't press the priority button, but 2 gates nice, especially with the Archway Angel, although would love the gates with the Gateway Sneaks. Opponent stuck on whites. I don't think I'm flashing out Duelist, but this is a good time to resolve the Sphinx since he's mana screwed. Mana Strength we can always ambush, but Arbiter is also great, so he can't really get any good attacks. I also don't mind just taking the 2, honestly, and then since I don't want chump blockers, so I think I'm fine just attacking with both, and yeah, this can also avoid a Blade Brand. Maybe see a final payment here. Yep, does seem reasonable. And if he has a Pump Trick, I have a Duelist to respond, so seems okay. Move to combat. Does he have a Pump Trick? We'll see. Just a chump. Yeah, Skitter Eel's fine. Can start beating down. As much as I would love to draw, the opponent is kind of mana screwed, so we can take advantage of this situation by just putting out a lot of good attackers. Ooh, 5 mana just for it, but yeah, we still have a pretty hefty beater here, so yeah, I think I'll just drop the Archway Angel, or I could just pump. And if I pump, what would happen? I guess I won't be able to play anything else besides the Fairy Duelist, so I don't think that's great. We'll just leave with the Archway Angel, put more evasive threats. But the opponent is playing some good removal. Kaya's Wrath, yeah, that's great. I mean, at least we baited out, but at least now we have an Azorius Knight Arbiter as a good top deck. And if he plays like Ilgan Inheritance, Exposed to Daylight can maybe answer it. Bellhaunts, yeah, I guess I'll ditch the Expose now, since it's not really doing anything for me. And we can still attack for 2, block, and go from there. No need for me to really fire off a Law Mage's Binding. With this type of hand, I can still block reasonably well. But I'm running out of threats. The opponent is playing a very good control game against me. Maybe fire off a Law Mage's Binding end of turn to lock down the Undercity Scavenger and start attacking for 2. But yeah, that was a really good sweeper, just taking out all my creatures. But I do have double Chillbringer left in the deck, some more card draw to help me dig towards my win conditions. So another Imperious Oligarch. I think I'm firing off a Law Mage's Binding end of turn. And attack for 2. So Gateway Sneaks are pretty much essentially dead at this point. Just need to play the very evasive control game this matchup. If he attacks, probably going to block the Imperious Oligarch, I have to imagine. Could also just take 1. Yeah, we'll take 1. It's not the end of the world. Lumbering Battlements, pretty strong card, so now he can exile a bunch of stuff. So that was a nice card from the opponent. Yeah, that's a really scary card. I guess I'll be taking a ton of damage and chumping. But Bring to Trial is nice. I guess he still gains life, but I think I have to do this. I mean, he gets everything back and makes me discard and gain some life, but I have to get rid of it, I have to imagine. And he can choose to stack anything he wants. He still gets a 5/5, so yeah, that was really bad. I mean, we still answered it, but the Lumbering Battlement was a pretty powerful bomb. So we'll be taking 5 per turn. We can ambush one of the 1/1 tokens at least. But we'll be slowly chipping in while the opponent is beating down with a 5/5. So, but the opponent just does have a really good deck. I mean, now a final payment. Yeah, this is not a easy game to win. Gonna take 8 here. At least I can. I mean, at least I can negate some damage here. So what I can do is I can Fairy Duelist, negate some damage and block the 1/1. So only take 6. And the opponent just keeps playing everything. So yeah, no card draw spells. We're getting owned. This sucks, and we're flooding. The opponent also, we didn't seem to pick up a single card draw spell so far, so we're just getting owned. Did we even find, I guess we got Sphinx's Insight, but the opponent just had too much removal and too many good cards. This would have been great, but a turn maybe a million turns ago. I can still trade a Haas the Officer off. It's not a great card. So we probably need to bomb it and find something better, and hopefully we deal with this. I guess the Chillbringer is nice. And I can still chump the 1/1. Chump with the 1/1, I mean. Yeah, I need to lock this down, chump with the 1/1 and take 4 perhaps. And yeah, we'll see go. Yeah, I think I need the 3/3. Maybe I could double block to get rid of it, because now I just could have killed the 3/4. Pontiff, yeah, that's annoying. Jesus. I guess the Acuity is quite nice, and then maybe we can play something else afterwards. Maybe I should have did something else. So, I mean, I still have a good first striker. This can get in for 1. Yeah, I guess we stay on defense, take 4. Or maybe I just need to start attacking now. But I'll be taking too much, so no attacks. And then hopefully, maybe I should have locked down this, but at the same time, the Azorius Skyguard blocks very well. Yeah, that's just good game. I'm not going to beat that. The opponent just has too many great, powerful Orzhov bombs. Even tried to stabilize, even had a Kaya's Wrath and the Ethereal Absolution and all the Orzhov cards you can imagine. The Bellhaunt, Final Payments, Mortifies. That was a pretty disgusting deck, I have to say, so I'm fine losing that matchup. But I wasn't going to win. Yeah, I wasn't going to win that matchup anyways, I have to imagine. So sometimes in Limited, you just have to kind of look at, kind of just say, I'm not going to win because the opponent just has broken cards. And just got past all the broken bomb Orzhov cards you could imagine. And that does happen. Our deck is still quite good. I mean, if we can get blue, we're fine. We're on to play. It is keepable, not amazing, but still keepable. Yep. Risk it for the biscuit, that's the saying. And yep, we're not getting the biscuit. So this could just be a game GG's here. Early concession. Although we do have Summary Judgment, so it's not all that bad. We kept a pretty sketchy hand against another Orzhov deck. This one may be less brutal, but I guess we'll take 3 since we do need blue mana. We'll take 3, and next turn we can set some better plays up. It's not good, but it's not the worst. Caracal? So I could just probably need to leave up Summary Judgment and the flyer here, so I think we'll say go. Move the blocks if he has a pump trick. If he passes priority, we're going to Summary Judgment to 3/1. So we're just only going to take 1. The Fairy Duelist was a nice combat trick. And all we need to deal with now is just an annoying Death Toucher. So not bad. And I do need to hit my land drops. So I think I'm Sphinx's inciting main phase. Although we got nothing. But I'm not blocking anything this turn. So we'll just attack for 1. Maybe we can just Dovin's Acuity and just kind of grind them out, hopefully. But I'll definitely keep the Duelist back for this. A Summary Judgment on the... yeah, let's just play this. Hopefully we can get a land drop. So then I can cast the Summary Judgment and then re-trigger the Dovin's Acuity, but never lucky, so we'll just pass. And I think we ditched the Skitter Eel. She just seems too slow here. Fine trading off the Duelist for the Light Fiend. I guess he's just playing this so he can have a 2-drop in the deck. But we are stabilizing, so it isn't too bad. Yeah, I guess we go for this play. Alternatively, seems reasonable, like just to bounce back to Dovin's Acuity. Actually, that wasn't the correct play. Okay. At least I've wasted a Mortify, so that wasn't too bad, and honestly, I maybe would have discarded it anyways, so... But now our life gain is kind of low, we're missing our land drops, and gate off the top wouldn't be great, but yeah, we'll see. Finally a land, so now we can maybe Chillbringer, lock down the Death Toucher, or play the Azorius Knight Arbiter instead. Maybe play the Sphinx because it's difficult to destroy. And also we can keep hitting for 4, which is probably better. He could Final Payments, which I'm not opposed to, but he needs to spend a ton of mana, so no blocks. We're not blocking a 1-2 Death Toucher at this stage of the game. Orzhov Racketeers, we could tap down, play land, move to combat, attack, and we'll tap it down, and then maybe play something else the turn after. And hopefully no Kaya's Raft, unlike the previous opponent. I mean, this opponent has pretty filler mediocre 2-drops, so he might not have it. This is just my bad presumption, but... And I'll probably play out the Azorius Knight Arbiter, and if he does make me discard something, I'll probably just discard the other Eel. And then afterwards I can still like refill with Precognitive Percept. But I think we're fine. It would make sense to block the Racketeers. He does get chump blockers, but I think that's reasonable. Yeah, I definitely can't take 4, so we're blocking. Could see a Blade Brand here. Or a Pump Spell, we'll see. Clear the stage. Okay, sounds reasonable, but he still doesn't get Afterlife tokens, so it's not that bad. So now what we can do is we can play land, move to combat, attack with both. And I could just Law Mage's Binding this, since we might have lethal. It's actually not a bad play. Alternatively, he could just have an extra flyer, so maybe we just play out the Archway Angel now, or just a Knight Arbiter, or Skitter Sneak. I guess Skitter Eel and Adapt is okay, so we can try that instead. Play around Grotesque Demise. If he makes us discard, maybe we just ditch the second Azorius Knight Arbiter. Because a 2-life could matter from the Archway Angel, not sure. I could just take it and then kill him on the way back. Because I might not even want him to get Afterlife tokens. So I mean, I could just take it here. But I think, yeah, I think this is too much. Yeah, I don't know. Could have a Blade Brand. Okay, he had it all along. But at least he used it here, and now he might be forced to chump with his flyers. So it seems fine, and he can only usually just final payment away the 3/3. So splashing red, hopefully no Gates Ablaze, but at least an Azorius Knight Arbiter might survive the Gates Ablaze attack. But I think we should be in good hands. We drew a bunch of good cards early on, got our mana sources out, and Bankrub in Blood, presumably just getting the Afterlife tokens down, so Opponent can still block. Maybe I'm fine trading off the Chillbringer over this. And then just keep the 4-4 back, 4-3 back. But I would miss out on damage, so I think I attack and give him offer him the good trade. Still picking up those chump blockers, sure. And yeah, we'll play the Arbiter. Stay back. Keep up the Summary Judgment if something was to happen. Are you serious? Does everyone have this card? I think everyone has this card. Yeah, that's very annoying. That's really, really annoying. Even a Sky Tether? Are you fucking serious? Alright. I'm firing off the Summary Judgment if he attacks here. Yeah, this opponent just has everything. Like, can you give me a fucking break? None of these cards I really want. The Guild Gate can give me 2 life, but I don't really want it. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, now he can just make 2/2s all day, and maybe we just need to get in for 2 here. It's pretty bad. Play the Gateway Sneak, and it can't even attack, so yeah, I guess he can just start exiling, making flyers. So this card is broken. I need to find maybe my my removal spell. I guess the Exposed to Daylight can answer this, so I need to start drawing cards, I guess. So drawing cards was correct in bombing everything. I do have an Exposed to Daylight in my deck still to answer this crap. I'll take 2. Since I can always Law Mage's Binding and get in for lethal, I guess he can always activate things in response. Yeah, I guess this isn't great for me. Pretty annoying here. And still fucking nothing. Fun. Yeah, we'll just pass the turn and have the opponent win. This is so fucking stupid. This is like the second Ethereal Absolution I've seen so far. It's so dumb. The card is completely broken. But maybe we can find an Exposed to Daylight for this crap and try to win that way. But it's actually looking quite bad for me here. Because by then he should have enough like ways to kill me anyways, so I still have 2 creatures that he can exile, so it's definitely not in a great place. Yeah, I probably just need to find the Exposed to Daylight and just kill the opponent that way. I guess that's the reason why he drafted this mediocre Orzhov deck, because he managed to get his hands on pretty much the most broken card in this entire set. Okay, that's also a fucking problem. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, there it is. Thank you, Lord. Thank you very much. Thank you very fucking much. That's fine. I can play the Gateway Sneak and get in. He can sack this, drain me for 4 and kind of kill me, so I should be careful here. But I do have the Law Mage's Binding down, so I think I kind of have to go for it here. Thank fucking God for that card, Jesus Christ. And we had to use our card draw spells. That's fine. I think I'm fine with this outcome. He loses everything, but we still get in for 4, and we still draw a card off the Gateway Sneak. Opponent might consider just chumping here. There's no reason to put 2. He needs to kill this if he wants to get a reasonable value trade. I guess he's just gonna chump. That's fine. And we'll say go. I guess he can deal lethal to me. I guess I can block the spirit still, so it's not all too bad. I can block both of these creatures. I'm hoping he doesn't have a Blade Brand. So he can activate this, drain me for 4. So I think I need the Law Mage's Binding one of the flyers here. And then I can still block the flyer, block the Footlight Fiend. Maybe I'm fine just taking the 1. He sacks the Ilgan, I can gain 2 and swing back for lethal. Yeah, I don't think I want him to Blade Brand here. I guess he can Blade Brand a freaking Scout anyway, so this is fine. This is going to drain me for 4, but hopefully Archway Angel can stabilize me here. Concordian Pegasus, a random blocker, so that's very fucking annoying. Very close game, though. Can I have another fucking gate, please? This game sucks. Let's just get in. Let's just get in. That's fine. Get in for 4. Maybe I should have played something out first. Not sure. Law Mage's Binding. Okay, so now I can Archway Angel and still Law Mage's Binding the Footlight Fiend. So I'm still in reasonable shape here. Can save the Law Mage's Binding in case he has an annoying haste creature. We're probably going to Binding the Footlight Fiend. He's going to stack this, go to 6. I'm probably going to use the Law Mage's Binding here on this Footlight Fiend. It's just too strong. Hopefully no final payments. But this has to be like the most crazy top deck that he has to get. And I drew way more cards than him. There shouldn't be a reason why he kills me here. I guess he could final payment, kill my flyer, ping me, go to 6, but he's dead. I should have enough flyers. If he has Kai's Wrath, I'm just gonna concede. This is pretty annoying. The Archway Angel essentially just saved me from this match. Maybe he's planning to sack this, deal 1 to my face, kill a flyer, but that's still not enough. Let's just get rid of this. So now he can't really kill me unless he puts up a giant flyer like another Archway Angel here. Archway Angel would be pretty brutal if he had one. Yeah, it would be really fucking brutal. Oh my god. He can only he needs to spend 6 mana to activate this and maybe play another creature to stabilize, but we got him. Jeez. Yeah, that was a very brutal matchup. Very, very hard matchup. Very long, grindy, and we're still at 2-1. Can't you believe it? Play through our outs, and it's still going to take a long time. Okay, Dovin's a cutie. Seems like a good opening hand. We can play this cast. If we have this early in the opening hand, it's great since you can just keep looping this and gaining value. So it's definitely going to help me stabilize against a Gruul control deck. I mean aggro deck. Ooh, misses his land drop. Okay. If he plays Rhythm of the Wild, we do have an answer for it. So Dovin's a cutie, quite powerful, although no threats. So we're still kind of Alright, Braintree Vandal with haste. No haste. I would love to Summary Judgment this on his turn, but I think I might have to just do that next turn. We'll see. Can take 3, can prevent 3. Let's just fire off the Duelist now. And I guess if he pumps the Burning Tree Vandal, I'll just I should have waited until he decided what he wanted to discard first, but now he has more information. But probably fine blocking this, and if he tries to do anything else, probably just going to use Summary's Judgment. Although I don't get the trigger, at least it can at least it's a fine 2-for-1, so that's fine. I wish I would bounce this back, but honestly, I think that's good enough value there. And Skitter Eel is quite good, so we'll attack for 1. Cast it, and it can be a nice ground blocker for us. Hopefully no Skewer, but he would have to tap 3 for it, and that would use up a lot of his energy. Bullrat Clan Crusher, quite strong. Luckily there's a Bring to Trial, and that's perfect. So let's get rid of it here. So we're kind of set up against the Gruul control decks. I could have attacked first too, and maybe if he blocked I would have pumped, but that's not a good exchange for him, so highly doubt that was going to happen. Daggercaster, pretty medium. Don't really care, I'll take 1. And I don't really need to. And we're kind of ahead against the Gruul deck, so that's a good sign. Because typically the Gruul deck is supposed to be putting us on a low life total, but when they're on a low life total and doing absolutely nothing. Alright, I mean, that's a funny card, because as expensive as it is, it just can't deal with a Law Mage's Binding at common, so definitely a card that goes down in value in this set. Good card, but yeah, the fact that it dies to Law Mage's Binding does not necessarily make it great. The question is, do I want Law Mage's Binding this? There's a chance he could have a pump spell, but there's also a high chance he doesn't. And I think I'll save it for something better, and now I'd rather just play the Hazda Marshal here, pump the Flyer, because it's guaranteed to get the extra damage, and just attack for 7. Hopefully no pump trick. So yep. Not going to do anything there. I mean, I guess if I Law Mage's Binding, yeah, it's just GG's. If I just do this, and it's just good games. Not really a good game, so I'm not going to emote, since I basically had everything against this Gruul opponent. Ooh, Acuity on 3, Gateway Sneak. Yeah, we gotta go for it. All on the play, so we basically have our builder rounds both in our hand. So also the Archway Angel, which is going to take a long time, but I'm hoping I can get a 3rd land drop, perhaps. Might even lead with the Acuity first, just so I can ensure that I get a land drop on turn 4 or 3, whatever. But if I don't get a 3rd land, and at least we have a Summary Judgment to go along with our Acuity, so we definitely need a 3rd land against an opposing Simic deck. Could see a Quench. If there's a Quench, I guess the card I'd rather have countered is a Gateway Sneak, since the Dovin's Acuity is better in terms of long-term value, so I think we lead with the Sneak instead of the Acuity, because he could have a quench here, and I'd rather have this get countered. Could also be holding up Growth Spiral. Definitely also reasonable. Okay. Maybe see a bounce spell end of turn. Applied Biomancy could be played here. Okay, nothing. Or wow, I guess it's a Growth Spiral end of turn. Seems reasonable. A Fairy Duelist, I guess it's in the block, so could be. I guess that was reasonable just to keep that up. So yeah, probably best if I can get a gate, but I only have 2 in the deck. Opponent attacks. Alright, I don't really agree with that, but he just taps up for a Steeple Creeper. Seems reasonable. As much as I like the Dovin's Acuity, I think we need to play the Azorius Locket here. And we'll say go. Fine taking 4, 5, maybe Summary Judgment, take out Steeple Creeper next, Steeple Creeper next turn. And then I can still, and I mean, if I could get land, that would be great, so I can Dovin's and then Summary Judgment against the Simic deck. He flies over. I don't know if I would agree with that. I think he was better off just attacking into this. But yeah, everyone has their own opinions. Maybe I Acuity just to hit my land drop. I think that might be the more important play. And then land it is, so now I can Summary Judgment and get it back, so that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I don't know why he decided to... I mean, I should have actually attacked with the Gateway Sneak first to guarantee a land drop, but now this is even better. So I get to draw more cards and hit my land drop and make it easier for me to hit my land drops. So kind of questionable decision there, pumping the Steeple Creeper. I think he should have just maybe kept it back, or at least just attack with both and played a creature to follow up to hold this off. But yeah, it is what it is. But I should have attacked with the Gateway Sneak first. Forgot this drew a card to decide whether or not I wanted Acuity or Summary Judgment. Skatewing Spy, pretty strong card. I do like the Sphinx of Nuprov. This can get pretty large though. And we are missing our land drops, so we might have to just Sphinx's Insight here. And maybe still take some hits or block. I guess we can't really block this well. This might force him to activate. Nah, let's just Sphinx's Insight. I think we need to hit our lands. We're going too long without land drops, and that's a problem. And we have a lot of expensive cards, so we do need to just hit our lands here. Even though he could hit us for a lot, we definitely need to just get this going. And this is pretty good in the Teamer decks too, since he can eventually give all of his creatures counters flying. So not bad. I think I attack for 1 first. And we can bring the Trial, so that's not bad. Not a bad top deck, and now we can also Dovin's Acuity and hopefully get a damn land drop going, because this could be problematic if we don't get a land. And we got a land, awesome. So we're stabilizing here. Bring the Trial working very well against these green decks. And the opponent's just giving me more card advantage. So as long as I deal with his threats, block him, trade him, then I should be able to win this. Opponent has no fear, constantly attacking into this. Yeah, he can activate this at instant speed, so probably not worth... I guess he can block it now, so never mind. And Law Mage is binding. Yeah, he can block everything, so maybe now I can just resolve something powerful. And what should I resolve? I can double spell here. The Sky Guard would be the more mana efficient play. The Haza Officer into Sphinx isn't bad, but I don't really get in a good attack. So maybe the play here is just like the Sky Guard, since it's the most expensive. Although maybe it's Azorius Knight Arbiter, because he could be holding up a Quench. Let's see, maybe we play the Sphinx in case he has a Thought Collapse. Yeah, maybe we just play that, and we can still leave up Law Mage's Binding, or maybe Haza's Officer is fine, and then maybe he can just trade off for the 2-1. I'm not looking to really be aggressive this matchup, so it's okay. Just want to deploy my hand so I don't get run over, and still need to play around Counterspell, of course, but the opponent doesn't seem to have any since these managed to resolve quite quickly, so hopefully I can pick up a gate and attack and draw a card. That would be pretty awesome. Unfortunately, again, our deck doesn't have too many. What's this? Whenever a creature casts a non-creature spell, deals 1 damage to that player. Sacrifice a destroyed target artifact or enchantment, deals 2 damage to that permanent's controller. So this can answer my Dovin's Acuity. But it's still not very good. I can just play a bunch of creatures now and kill the opponent. So probably going to use the Hazda Officer to trade here. It makes the most sense. Maybe the opponent is new here. He doesn't seem to be playing any good cards. You can sacrifice this to steal something, which I don't care about. This attack is very odd, so I'm going to take it. This does imply a pump trick, so I should be careful. And now I can play the Guild Gate, and now I can also just attack. Maybe leave the Hazda Officer back. How much mana do I have first? 5, 6, 7. So I can't quite double spell yet, unless I want to keep up the Law Mage's Binding, so maybe just attack with evasive threats first. I don't really want him to steal my Azorius Skyguard as well, because I can give him first strike. Another Law Mage's Binding, maybe. Yeah, maybe we just Skitter Eel it up and keep up the Law Mage's Binding, although I could lose life. So maybe the Azorius Knight Arbiter is just a better play. He can activate this twice next turn, so maybe I do need to keep up the Law Mage's Binding, because this can get pumped pretty high. So yeah, let's play out the Skitter Eel, and then decide whether or not we want to Law Mage's Binding next turn. Probably see the Cinder Vines, and I'm hoping he uses the Cinder Vines here on the Dovin's Acuity, so then I can cast the Law Mage's Binding, so I won't take the extra damage. But here, we'll see. So 7 mana, I might need to double block this, or at least block and pump the Skitter Eel. Yeah, he can activate this twice, so I'm probably going to be blocking the Skitter Eel and pumping, since I don't really want to Law Mage's Binding it. I might take too much damage, which I don't want to end up with. He might activate this, so then I guess if he activates this, then my Hazda Officer can block, and I'm fine maybe just taking 2. Galloping Lizrog unfortunately doesn't have any good targets. So he was bluffing the attack with the Fairy Duelist, makes sense. And as much as I love to, I guess I can always, I can actually grow this instead, so that's not bad. And a Precognitive Perception, but it's probably just another Skitter Eel plus activation, or Azorius Knight Arbiter. But probably just going to attack in for 4. I could even offer the Hazda Officer here. But probably better to trade. Yeah, I'll offer the Hazda Officer. I could still take 3 and survive, and then play out the Skitter Eel, keep up activation and Law Mage's Binding. Just need to speed up the clock here, and I'm fine if he trades anything here for it. The Caretaker can maybe get chumped, and I'm fine. The only way the opponent can win is actually just to kill me here with damage, so. And just gotta keep playing out creature spells so the opponent doesn't Doesn't kill me, and if he tries to steal my Skitter Eel, I can just activate in response to negate the Smelt Ward Ignis's activation. This is a pretty bad card, in my opinion. It's played on Raknos, but the 1 toughness, again, really bad, since usually a lot of 1 toughness gets negated early on in this set, and even if you play this on turn 2, it won't be able to get any good attacks in, and then you can just, and you end up sacking this, using it as a pretty poor act of treason, which doesn't even kill the opponent at times, so this is fine. Next turn we can attack with all, I guess. Or I mean just attack with these. He can steal my Hazda Officer, but he loses a Smelt Ward Ignis. I can block with a Skitter Eel and force a trade with the Gravelhide Golem, which I think is reasonable, honestly. Since this can get out of hand, I could also just Law Mage's Binding and take 2. And he can only use this at sorcery speed, right? So it's not even that great. So if he moves to combat, I guess I'm fine taking 2, locking down the Gravelhide Golem and just attacking. Royal Beastmaster, kind of scary. Let's see what he does here. Maybe we need to end of turn lock this down. I guess it has haste, so that's kind of scary. He can't stack this and steal the Sphinx, so he has to stack it and steal the Hazda Officer, I have to imagine. And that has haste, so I gotta be careful. So it's probably the target I need to lock down here. Of course I can get a good block on. He can only steal the Hazda Officer. If he tries to steal my Skitter Eel, then I can activate in response, and then this spell will fizzle, and that's not great for him. So I'm hoping he sacks this onto my Skitter Eel, so then I can just adapt it in response. So moves to combat, so then he doesn't really have any way to activate this at sorcery, so I think it's fine using the Law Mage's Binding, taking 2, and locking down the Gruul Beastmaster. So the only good attack he has is a Gravelhide Golem. Actually, not even a good attack, since I can just block both. And he's moving to combat, so he can't activate the Smelt Ward Ignis and get value, unless he wants to activate it on his second main and fizzle this. So this is good. Opponent passes a turn, I can lock this down. Yeah, seems pretty good. So now what I can do is I can just... still have to be careful, I guess. I guess I can just attack with all. And then just play something and I should be fine. Yeah, let's just attack with all. You just want to shrink his board, and the more I just shrink his board, the more he just doesn't have anything to play afterwards. I'm hoping he trades this off so then I can resolve something good here. He can activate this, but none of it really trades, so let's just attack with all, and then if he decides to block the 3/3, I'll just activate it and kill his stuff. So let's just get in. I'm just hoping this dies so he doesn't have the Act of Treason effect, but he might want to keep it here. Either way, he's forced to chump here, and then he'll be taking lethal, so he does need to block with a Smelt Ward Ignis. So definitely not a good trade for him. And he'll be taking 9, so he needs to block with this Fairy Duelist as well. So yeah, this is not good for the opponent, I have to imagine. Don't need to activate just yet. We'll have him pump the Gravelhide Goblin. And in response, we'll activate it. And he just loses everything, I guess. And then we'll just play an Azorius Knight Arbiter. And we should be able to kill this opponent next turn. So lots of weird jank cards. Cindervine's not a great card. Burning Tree Vandal's not going to do it. And this should be game. I mean, I might as well show off all my removal to the opponent. I don't know what she's thinking about. Good games. There's no way you can win here, come on. I can still take the pings from the Cinder Vine and still win. It's only 1 damage, so it's not even that good. I guess he can sack it and get rid of the Law Mage's Binding, but it's still not enough. He can maybe ambush the Gateway Sneak, but who cares? But yeah, it's always fun to learn. But it's still not going to do it. And yeah, not a bad victory, pretty easy. Let's keep this up. Another long, grindy game, but another victory at least. And 4-1, not bad. But I could have gotten ran over if the opponent, if I didn't get my land drops. So there's definitely a risk to keeping a 2-lander with Dovin's Acuity and Gateway Sneak, but they're definitely very powerful if you can resolve them. Almost thought I was going to find anyone. Okay, not bad. Gateway Sneak. Hopefully I can draw some untapped lands, but we'll just lead with Azorius Guildgate, of course. And I'm probably going to take the risk and not play the Guildgate. Ooh, yep. So then I can maybe turn 3 Gateway Sneak and then play the Gate to draw a card off of it. And the Fireblade Artist. I could just negate the damage now. I mean, it could be reasonable, so maybe this might disincentivize an attack if he goes for a double block next turn. Yeah, fine, I'll just do it. He could free roll me, but this does disincentivize an attack here if I keep it back, but of course, he could just try to free roll me and maybe represent a Blade Brand. In that case, I maybe should have attacked, but still, yeah, still this disincentivizes an attack at least, since I could get 2 good blocks and kill this. But obviously, I don't think we're blocking with a Guild Gate in our hand, because I do want to leverage card advantage. Yeah, he went for it. He didn't. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that sucks. This does. He might have a Skewer here, but Cult Guild Mage, okay. Could just play a non-Guild Gates card, but I think I want to get in here, although could just play out Skitter Eel. Maybe we'll take it slow, play out Skitter Eel instead, attack for 1, and then maybe trade off for the Fireblade Artist if he has Death Touch or Blade Brand. Probably better to kill the Cold Guild Mage because it can enable Spectacle and other shenanigans. Definitely going to block here if he decides to attack. He's stuck on 2, so I'm going to attack here, and then I'm fine if he uses Blade Brand because I don't want him to keep getting in for 2, and this is a reasonable block. So he probably has it here. Otherwise, I don't think he would have attacked with a Fairy Duelist and into the Gateway Sneak. Okay, so he might not have it. He could have Carnival Carnage to deal 1 damage. Maybe that was just a bluff. Okay, he had it all along. Makes sense. For Light Theme, that's fine. Ooh, Azorius Knight Arbiter could be better. Yeah, as much as I like getting in for the Gateway Sneak, I think this is just better. And we'll say go. Since I could attack 1 in the air, I could also just take the Footlight Fiend hit, since he could always just enable Spectacle. Because it could just be another Blade Brand, but I think he would have maybe used Blade Brand. Not sure. Maybe I'm fine still taking 1, and then maybe force him to use Blade Brand on a better creature. Okay, that's fine. So now we can play the Guild Gate finally. And then just attack. And still going to keep the 1/2 back as a good blocker against his 1 toughness creatures. Draw a card, and then we'll play the other Azorius Knight Arbiter. Probably still nothing. Maybe, yeah, I think I might trade the Fairy Duelist for this. Because the Azorius Knight Arbiter could just be better. This is just, yeah, I'm fine with the trade. Like, I can always block the Footlight Fiends, who cares? And I'd rather have him use a Pump Spell on the 1/2 than the 2/5s, which are definitely going to be problematic for him to face against. Could even trade the Gateway Sneak off, maybe. Summary Judgment could be fine. And the opponent's also missing land drops, so gonna play the Sphinx here and keep land in hand because the Cold Guild Mage can activate the discard effect at 4 mana, so gonna keep the land in case he makes me discard, which is definitely quite relevant. That's fine. Maybe I should Summary Judgment here in response. Maybe that was better, just Summary Judgment away the Cold Guild Mage. Should have thought of that, but there's a chance I could pick up a Dovin's Acuity, and I might need this next turn, so we'll see. And if he attacks, I might not block because there might be a Blade Brand. I guess I might block with the Sneak, Gingot with the Gateway Sneak on the 2/1, but not on the Footlight Fiend. I'm fine if he tries to attack with the Footlight Fiend because the Blade Brand could be very problematic. That's a good card, but I'm not afraid of it because he's stuck on mana. So maybe just Summary Judgment, end of turn on the Cold Guild Mage seems okay, and I'll play out land. Could use this earlier, but I guess we can kind of state that we kept the mana open just to maybe enable the Dovin's Acuity, but now I gotta Summary Judgment this because it could be a problem. But we're slowly just beating the opponent. We can even take the hits next turn if we want to, but a lot of evasion in this deck, so yep. And I don't think I want to block the Imperious Oligarch. The reason why is he can make a chump blocker, so no blocks. Fine taking 3. Like, this is a reasonable block for me, but I just want to get him for lethal next turn, so it makes sense not giving him the Afterlife token. Of course, I can enable Spectacle, but the opponent's stuck at 3, so even if he plays a Blade Juggler or a Skewer, I mean, I guess a Skewer would be bad, but I guess a Skewer can take out Sphinx, but yeah, that's not going to cut it. And then this is just lethal, so good games, opponent. Almost close to Mythic, and currently 5-1, so 2 more victories, and we can get our nice 7 for this blue-white tempo deck, which I haven't yet explored on my channel, so let's keep playing. Ooh, yeah, Dovin Zacuti on 3, always great. Although I would love the guild gate for the gateway sneak. I think this is a good keep. And the opponent's on the play, so has the aggressive start, but mulligans. Hopefully we're not playing against an Esper control deck. Maybe we should not play land. Okay, yes it is, but we do have Exposed to Daylight to answer any problematic enchantments. I don't mind that. I'll even take 1 per turn if I want to. This card just doesn't bother me at all. Yeah, I'll take 1. Do I play Dovin's Acuity? That's a question. I guess I'd rather expose that. Do I want value from the expose? This card can be very problematic. Yeah, let's get rid of it now. And Sphinx's Insight can be quite nice. We'll keep it. Oh, I guess that was the main enchantment to remove, but the Eyes Everywhere is still... I can still maybe defeat an Eyes Everywhere deck. So let's see, I can draw 2, or I can draw 1. Or I can just play the Hazda Officer. Maybe drawing 2 seems better. And I don't want to deck myself too much against the Clear to Mind Esper control deck here. Skatewing Spy I can kill with Summary Judgment if he decides to activate. And land is good, which can allow me to play out the Azorius Night Arbiter and start clocking him. And this can dodge Summary Judgment, so pretty good card. Of course, you could have a Mortify, but killing the Eyes Everywhere was also close to just taking out the Dovin's Acuity in a sense. So let's see. I think I'll just play out the Azorius Skyguard. I'm not really afraid of anything. And this also disincentivizes an attack. He can activate the Skatewing Spy, but of course a bounce spell and the Dovin's Acuity to cantrip off of it. I can still block the Skatewing Spy, of course, but definitely might just Summary Judgment away this Windstorm Drake next turn so I don't take 1,000,000 damage. Yeah, I probably had to take out the Windstorm Drake next turn. So in that case, maybe it's time for us to gain value instead. And we can main phase this Summary Judgment. Bounce back our Dovin's Acuity as well. And also keep up Fairy Duelist. He might activate this, which is fine. I do have enough evasion. And then I can always Summary Judgment to finish it off. Yeah, I think I'll take it. I guess I don't mind doing this instead. Maybe Fairy Duelist, neg here, and then block the 1/2 to prevent damage. Seems reasonable. And now we can play Dovin's Acuity, Summary Judgment away to 4/5. And I might just add the extra threat, but we got him, yep. And yeah, almost 6-1, so not bad. Usually the Acuity is better, and again, a more Esper heavy Clear to Mind control deck, like I think what my opponent was going for, but again, sometimes the pod doesn't hand you all the powerful removal spells and instead gives you all the evasive threats, so you're kind of forced to improvise and end up drafting an evasive tempo deck instead, which we managed to successfully do. So currently 6-1, let's do this, get our final win. and finally have a new archetype for our channel to take a look at and for you guys to study up upon. And this is a much more of a late game tempo deck as opposed to aggressive tempo orients. There's ones that where you can start early with a lot of aggressive 2-drops, evasive 2-drops, and you can try to win via that way. But this one is more late game oriented as opposed to early game. So this is definitely a much more different tempo deck. And in this set, there's not a lot of powerful early 2-drop flyers and evasive creatures. So typically speaking, it's better off in the late game anyways. And yeah. It's a good archetype, definitely. Dovin's Acuity could actually be a mythic uncommon if you can build around it correctly. And as much as I would have loved to draft a Clear to Mind deck to show you guys how it operated, again, the table just didn't cooperate and we were forced to play flyers instead, which again is a good archetype. And yeah, we're keeping this. Hopefully not another blue player so he doesn't keep up counter spells, but this is really strong. And yeah, hopefully we can pick up some gates to enable this gateway sneak. Opponent is on the play, and mulligans again, so but an aggressive start. Spear Snewer, so probably need to gain some life in this matchup with our Dovin's Acuity, and a Plague White to start with, so Sneaking Guide probably not as best, could just bluff a blue, so maybe it could represent an Essence Capture on the Blade Juggler. So depending on what he plays, I might have to do something else, and Blade Juggler is a good one. So I think I might have the Law Mages binding this Blade Juggler to prevent too much damage from happening, so we'll say go. I mean, there's a chance he could play a much more scarier haste creature, but I just want to protect myself as much as possible, so we're going to Law Mages binding this before combat to prevent as much damage as possible, and maybe next turn just play the Dovin's Acuity, maybe lock down the Plague Whites, although now Ilgan Inheritance, but we do have a way to answer that, so yeah, this just isn't going to attack past anything this game, so we're just going to cast the Acuity, hopefully dig to some good addendum cards like this Sphinx's Insight, and find more answers to get rid of this. Maybe I just need to trade this off, or just play another Law Mage's Binding, not sure. Maybe the Sphinx's Insight can find us more answers, and then again we'll just bring back our Dovin's Acuity. And maybe I just need to ditch a Sneaking Guide here because it's not doing me anything. Yeah, I think we need the lands here. The Sneaking Guide can probably go at this point. It's just not going to do me anything. The Azorius Knight Arbiter can be a good blocker on 5, but he's constantly draining me, so I do need to kind of stabilize against him first. This costs 1 black and 5 to activate, so I'm almost dead certainly, but yeah, the Skyguard is quite nice. Perfect. A Demise on the stack. Okay, I think we're dead. Yeah, let's not waste our time. The opponent has a pretty insane start with Blade Juggler and then the Plague Whites. Okay, we might not get 7, but we were close. So yeah, let's and we also had a pretty good opening hand, but the Plague White onto Blade Juggler on 3 and Ilgan Inheritance was pretty much the most insane start you could have asked for in a Rakdos deck. So it does happen, but we'll give it one more spin and try to get our 7 here. And hopefully we can have insane curves like that. But our opening hand was quite good. The Acuity, the Sneaking Guide, I mean the Gateway Sneak, but it couldn't block anything, to be honest. So it was not very good in that matchup, kind of a dead card. So it was better if I had like a Summary Judgment to bounce back my Acuity, draw more cards, and kill his stuff. But so it goes. Sometimes the opponent, it's all luck. I mean, there's skill, but obviously luck involved once you're at a higher level anyways. And yeah, not bad. Summary Judgment on 2, Hawes the Officer, I think I'll keep. And we're on the play, so I don't really want to say no to this. Haza Officer, obviously not a great card, but kind of filler, but still reasonable. We can play the Sphinx on turn 4, and another weird Gates deck, I have to assume, because those are two colors you don't usually see, Golgari and Selesnya. So probably a Gates deck, I have to imagine, splashing for like a Gatebreaker Ram. And a Grasping Throw. Ooh, I do love Gateway Sneak. Yeah, this might disincentivize him from attacking. It's a lot better than Hazda Officer, of course. So this is going to be my play, and if he doesn't have... And if he plays a creature I can remove, I don't mind. Could see a Grotesque Demise. Final payment for 5, okay. So the opponent used a removal spell, lost 5 life, so definitely worth it here, but we'll lead with a Sphinx here. And start clocking him for 4, so the opponent needs to also find an answer to this, which is not the easiest, so... Gatebreaker Ram we can always lock down. I guess as Vigilance now. Yeah, we have to lock it down as much as I love... I hate this as much... As much as I hate... As much as I would love to Summary Judgment this away, it's just... It's just too good, so we'll play the Hazda Officer, pump the Sphinx, and then attack for 5. I don't want to offer a trade to the Grasping Throw, so I'm just going to say go. I can trade the Hazda Officer, that can be okay. Mammoth Spider, okay, that's a problem, so... Ooh, Azorius Locket, okay. And I guess we'll play land, just in case we might have to sack this later. But opponent is playing a nice Gates Blaze control deck. We'll Summary Judgment to get this away so we don't take too much damage. Not bad. He might have a Gates Ablaze since he did that. And a Sharkdo Crab, which I can still Summary Judgment away, but we'll just Precognitive Perception main phase to bottom all of our lands and find more better playables. So not a bad Scry 3, so Addendum is always very important. And we can still play land and say go. Arbiter might be my win con here. But I definitely need to take out the Sharkdo Crab, honestly, because it's just gonna hit hard. It's gonna hit too hard here. So he could adapt, tap down my Sphinx, attack for 8, I have to imagine. So I might have to Summary Judgment this main phase next turn, and maybe play out the Azorius Night Arbiter to maybe kill the opponent that way. But this is a scary card. So he's going for it. And I might just trade for the 2-1 if he attacks a fall. If not, I'll just play the Azorius Night Arbiter. Okay, he's going for it, so I guess I'll take 8. And Summary Judgment this away, play out the Azorius Night Arbiter, and hopefully don't die. Say go. Pretty good card. And now I could just Skitter Eel and maybe just adapt. Maybe that's just better. Although this could just be the better card, honestly. Yeah, we'll just play it and then we'll activate it so he doesn't have a Grotesque Demise in response. And this also disincentivizes an attack. So, pretty close games. Another Grasping Throw. Might have to trade that one off. But I'm fine attacking the Skitter Eel onto this. And Dovin's Acuity is quite powerful. So we'll play that first. Ooh, Chillbringer, perfect. So we could just tap down the Grasping Throw or the Mammoth Spider. Yeah, the Grasping Throw probably gets a tap and I can attack for 5. He's probably not going to block. So he needs to play Gates into Gates of Play, so at least clear 2 of my creatures, but the Skitter Eel should be able to survive. That's a random chump blocker I don't care too much about. Bring the Trial, unfortunately he just has too much power, so maybe I'm fine just playing out the Arbiter, attacking for 5. So if I attack with all, let's say he blocks, get in for 3, that's not very good, so probably just play out the Arbiter for now. And I think I'm fine trading the Skitter Eel for the Mammoth Spider, and if he wants to chump, that's also okay by me. can also trade for the grasping throw if I'm too afraid of taking too much, because I'm at 3, which is kind of precarious. But either way, like, yeah, I think I had to attack because he was going to swing back anyways at some point and make 2 afterlife tokens. So I think it's reasonable to attack. Tome of the Guild Pack, I will just draw him cards but won't do anything else in the meantime, so I think we're fine. And we can stack the Azorius, lock it, maybe find more stuff to gain more life with and kill the opponent with. Law Mage's Binding is pretty powerful. So I can Law Mage's Binding, I guess on the Mammoth Spider makes sense. And then I can just attack with all, which I'm fine trading the Sphinx for the Grasping Throw at this point. Let's force a chump. So yeah, he's going to lose most of his creatures, and he's still stuck on land, so he would need more spells to clear both my threats here, but Azorius Knight Arbiter should be able to get the job done if he can't kill everything. If he just takes out these 2 threats. Homunculus is fine, but we can still attack with the Skitter Eel. And I guess he can't adapt it. I guess he can. No, he can't. He would need green and blue, which he doesn't have. Only has one color here, so I might as well attack with all, force a chump. And this comes in taps, so that's a punishment for going 5-color gates, and then we'll play land and move to combat. And yeah, unless he has an instant speed interaction here, he's forced to chump. He's dead. So yeah, this is lethal unless it's Slime Bind. Okay. So let's see, how many gates does he have? 1, 2, 3. So he only has 3 gates. So if he uses Gates Ablaze, let's make sure so we don't mess up. So if he uses Gates Ablaze, you can't take out my second Skitter Eel. So it seems reasonable to just play an Adapt right now. And then we'll say go. Could even bring the Trial on this to bounce the Acuity back, but I think that's too much of a hassle. And we got him. Alright, nice. Nice 7 and 2. Azorius Tempo deck. Again, a much more mid-range control variant where you're trying to get to the late game evasive threats and play early game removal, but yeah, it's definitely more creature focused. And yeah, let's go over the deck before I crack some packs. Nice 7 and 2. And yep. And definitely, it requires a lot of win con in these Azorius Temple decks, due to the fact that this set is very grindy and there's a lot of removal and sweepers. It's important to have like multiple evasive threats, including flyers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 evasive threats in the deck, I guess, 7 to a lesser extent, and 8 with the, 7 to a lesser extent with Fairy Duelist, but also Skitter Sneak can beat down hard. So yeah, against a Clear the Mind deck with a million removal spells, I don't think we would have gotten there, but against other opposing decks that don't have as much, our decks still managed to get to 7 wins and still have enough ways to close out. But yeah, not a bad deck. There's a lot of card draw in this deck, and decent evasive threats. The weakest card is probably a Hazda Officer, plus maybe like an Exposed to Daylight or Bring to Trial, but it was definitely a much more controlling variant, again with multiple removal spells, triple Summary Judgment, triple Law Mage's Binding, which is very powerful, to a lesser extent Bring to Trial, and Fairy Duelist as a combat trick, and Azorius Skyguard as a way to shrink them down. But we also had great value engines, Precognitive Perception, Dovin's Acuity, which we could bounce back over and over to draw cards with, and Sphinx's Insight. So not bad. Also the Azorius Locket could draw cards, and with 17 lands we still managed to get there. Even with a bit of flood out, we managed to get 7 wins. And yeah, this deck is definitely mana intensive, so I think 17 lands was correct, plus the Locket, since we had the Skitter Eels to adapt. We also need to play our Dovin's Acuity along with our Addendum instant speed spells. The Precog is a 5 mana spell, and the fact that we can Scry also makes it so that keeping 70 lands was decent and consistent. But yeah, not bad. But there's definitely a lot of fun Azorius archetypes in this set. There's the High Alert deck, which I don't really like too much since walls aren't very they don't really attack early on, and either way, even if you get your High Alert out in the late game, it's gonna still take more than 1 or 2 turns to kill the opponent. So it's usually better if you're just gonna be aggressive early on and attack with creatures to get the opponent's life point to 0. But that being said, the high alert deck can definitely be functionable. I haven't gotten 7 wins with it, but reasonable. But there's also again the Esper control deck, the clear the mind, where you just play all the removal spell, and the Esper colors have clear the mind, multiple counter spells, and card draw engines, and get there. There's also Gates variant with the Gates Ablaze, of course, but it's definitely very difficult to draft unless you can pick up powerful sweepers in that archetype. Like if you open up a Kai's Wrath, you can definitely go for the clear the mind game plan, but it is very situational and not the easiest to draft. So sticking with 2 colors is definitely reasonable in the Azorius 2. This is a more aggressive variant, so I do like Azorius in this deck, and there's also multiple ways you can go. You can go splashing Bant for green for powerful bombs like Sharkdo Crab or Zagana. You can splash black for Mortify, Grasping Throws, etc. Final payments that we were looking to splash early on. But yeah, it's pretty fun drafting Ravinica Allegiance. So let me take a screenshot of this, and actually let's get that Screaming Shield out of the picture. Screenshot this, and let's crack some packs and pretend we're drafting Ravnica Allegiance. Claim our prize. And I have all the mythics and rares, so it's not. So it kind of sucks that I can't show the mythics and rares in this, but we can still go for something else. Probably, maybe force Orzhov and take Syndicate Guildmage, given how powerful Orzhov is. I guess a more flexible option would be Vindictive Vampire, since you can still beat Rakdos, and this is still a fine card. Of course, best in Orzhov, so maybe I would take the Vindictive Vampire, lean towards black here, and either being Rakdos or Orzhov. And I would probably still take Syndicate Guildmage over Seraphorm Hybrid. And again, I don't hate green. This green is definitely reasonable in this set, but again, it's the weakest color, as much as I hate to say it. And but definitely, again, really powerful compared to Guilds of Ravnica. But Seraphorm Hybrid, probably the best green common in this set. Early 2-drop that can pressure the opponent for a bit of damage, and in the late game, being able to adapt this for 6 and make a 6/6 creature is really powerful. Of course, it doesn't have trample. And of course, black has all the broken removal spells and interaction creatures like Syndicate Guildmage, which can tap things down like this, and also Death Touch. So not too high on green, but still very good common. Probably still take Vindictive Vampire here. Keep our options open. Either an Orzhov or Rakdos, and is a reasonable 4-drop. Ceratok, I mean, there's also Depose Deploy, pretty good. But I think the Ceratok gets a nod here, even though it's in green. Just a difficult creature can block that can't be blocked, and then they can easily just close out games if you can't find an answer to this. So definitely a great card. Depose Deploy, also very excellent. Splashable too. Great with multiple flyers. Great with a lot of creatures, obviously. And even if you don't make flyers, you can still tap things down on turn 2 to maybe hit your land drop, or prevent an attack, or get an attack in. So Depose, fine, the weaker part, but Deploy, really powerful. Can help you gain a bunch of life, stabilize, make flyers that can chump block and attack. So both options are definitely reasonable, but I would still take the Ceratok to keep my options open. Demise, obviously, over Titanic Brawl. Fight spells usually have some downsides, whereas Grotesque Demise only have one downside. Either you can't cast it since you don't have the color or enough mana, or the power is more than 3, but definitely very powerful. So Demise here has to be the pick. And Frill Mystic versus Borak Clan Crusher. Rampaging Renhorn is also an overperformer, a great 5-drop in either Simic or Gruul, but I don't think I still take it here over between these two. And between these two, I think Borak Clan Crusher is a lot more splashable. Especially in Simic, it has great synergy. You can just remove counters to deal 2 damage. Whereas Frill Mystic is more committal, a lot more difficult to cast, but still really powerful tempo play. If you can set up with the right Bant control deck, or just draft straight up Simic with a lot of adapt creatures, this can be really great. Powerful 2-for-1, counter something, and have a 3/2 out that can chump or trade. Really powerful card. But Borak Clan Crusher can also do a lot of work, can even deal face damage, but needs to fit in either Gruul or Simic with counters. So yeah, I don't know, probably take the Clan Crusher. keep my options flexible. But they're close in power level. Yeah, I'll take a Gate Colossus. As you can see, the Gates decks are highly supported in this set, and this can go into any color combination as long as you have a decent amount of gates. This card is pretty bonkers. Even if you don't cast the Gate too often to bring this back on top of your library, if you get answered. If you play Gates early on, this just gets a huge discount, and it's a pretty powerful blocker and attacker. So this card is definitely very powerful, and has to be answered immediately once it comes down. So definitely close to like a Mythic Uncommon if you can build around this enough. But if you obviously if you don't have enough gates, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you do, maybe running 3 or more gates, this card can get off hand. And again, the Gates archetype is definitely powerful, so don't sleep on this. Would probably take the Gate Colossus here, but if Gate Colossus wasn't in this pack, probably the Skatewing Spy. Although Skatewing Spy, I haven't been too impressed in Azorius since you're not doing too many counters. But in either like a Teamer deck where you're splashing this or not, or a Simic deck splashing red, this is a really powerful card. But there's also Savage Smash as a good interaction spell, but probably take Gateway Colossus and Skatewing Spy first over it. This pack is not great. I do like the Sphinx's Insight though. Rumbling Ruin has been an underperformer, unfortunately. I guess it's still reasonable in some sort of a Teamer deck where you can just play this on turn 6, then make the opponents unable to block things and get in a huge smash attack in. But it is 6 mana, which is very clunky, doesn't have trample, and you just want to keep a low curve. I prefer Rubble Belt Recluse over this, honestly, because it's just cheaper, can get in for a lot of damage. But Sphinx's Insight, great common, multicolor common spell for Azorius / Esper in the set. Draws 2 and Addendum gain 2 can be powerful, especially with Dovin's Acuity. Just being able to bounce the Acuity back, gain more life, and draw more cards is really great. And this card also actually makes it a lot worse to play aggro in the set, because it also has the life gain component and card draw engine. So another reason why this set is very controlling, because of cards like this being able to fetch your bombs, and also gains life and gives you value. So as long as you can stabilize your early game with enough removal and blockers, Sphinx's Insight is great. But yeah. And that's the reason why aggro is also not great, because there's a chance you can play an aggro deck, miss your land drops, and the Sphinx's Insight is just really offsets you once you get your land drops with this and get your expensive creatures that can block and or kill things. But yeah, this set doesn't have too many amazing defensive 2-drops, but it just has a lot of removal at cheap. So typically speaking, you don't need to be a creature control deck as much as you would like. But yeah, definitely very grindy format. And there you go, another nice 7-win video. Hope you guys enjoyed the content, and stay tuned for more Premier Draft Ravinica Allegiance, and have a great day. Take care.